What's up guys, Aaron here, Curls in the Rack, and today we're finally going to do a review on the Slinger. I was able to get my hands on one, and we're going to do a thorough review. I'm going to go through the ins and outs of setting it up, exercises, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and some tips to keep the thing functioning properly. So let's get to it. Okay, so first off, there are a few different options that you can get when you get the Rogue Slinger. This is a Rogue Monster light rack. You can get the Rogue Monster Slinger, different rack, so different setup. There's the plate-loaded version, which is the one I have here, so you can use your weight plates that you actually have at your house already. There's a band resistance option where you just basically, you can use bands, and then there's a clip at the bottom, and then there's a strap that goes over it, and you can use that option. Or you can get the weight stack version, which allows you to put two rods here, put the stack of weights in here, and then you can put the pin in to adjust your weight up and down. But the version I got is a plate-loaded version, so that's the version I'm going to be covering in this video. All right, so we'll start at the bottom here and we'll go up, and I'll show you what came with the plate-loaded version of the Slinger attachment kit. You got your shackle with your bolt that goes through the cross member here, and then on the other side you have your nut, and this attaches to a 15-pound resistance cable that basically prevents, when this thing goes up and down, from banging into the post. It sort of keeps it in a straight line. Then you have your base that attaches to the rack here with a pin. It does come with one of these pins. And then on top of that sits the plate load base. So you pop this guy off of here, and then you can throw all your weights on, clip this back on here, and then you're good to go. So you have another clip here, attachment. You got the ball to prevent it from going through the hole up here. You got your cable. You get a grommet here, and then you also get another grommet that goes on the top portion, and then you get the actual right-hand side of the Slinger, the left-hand side of the Slinger, two bolts there, two nuts on the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts that go through to secure them together at the top, and then you get two rollers. You can place them at different spots. I'm pretty sure that this one right here is for if you have the band version of this, and so that way the roller goes there, and then the band version comes here. Then you get more clearance. You don't need as much clearance for the bands as you do if you're using the plate-loaded version. So then come over to the front here, you got the rollers, they're coming down, got another ball at the top to prevent it from going through here, and another clip. One thing to remember is that if your cross members don't have these 1-inch holes drilled here, one there, one there, one up there, one up there, you can actually just see them a little better if we go to the back of the rack here. But if yours doesn't have those, you're either going to have to re-drill into the rack, or you are going to have to buy the optional cross members for whatever size rack. They have them on there on Rogue's website, so you can actually see those on the Slinger page if you need to order those. But if you already have the cross members, you may want to just drill them yourself, and they actually provide a little bit of a template in there for you to throw up on the rack and drill them. So that being said, let's get to the setup portion of this. The bottom portion of the setup is pretty self-explanatory. You're going to put the shackle on, you're going to attach the resistance band clips, you're going to put this guy wherever you really want it. You can have it higher, lower, it doesn't really matter. And then you are going to set this guy on top of there, and you have your weights, and that portion is done. What's going to take you a little bit more time and a little bit is more involved is putting this guy up. Now what I did is I put the right-hand side on first, and I put the bolts through all the way. That will secure it up there. The next thing I did was grab the left-hand side and put it up there, and then I bolted it on. I haven't put the rollers up yet. So the next thing I do is I put the two rollers up, and you can slide them in the middle, slide them there, and then bolt those on. The next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna put your cable on, and you're gonna run it down through the grommet. Now you can do this before, just so you can see, and then just sort of set it out of the way. Then put this guy up, then put it over the two rollers. And once you do that, you're gonna secure the top portion here that comes with these little plastic pieces in the middle and a bolt that goes through and a nut on the other side. And they're set up like this. Okay, if you were to have the wheel closer in, you'd obviously have the top bolt moved over to the left one. But the setup was pretty easy. It only took me like 20 minutes and I did it all by myself. After I had it all put together, there's one more thing that I went ahead and did when I was up there with the rollers and by the two grommets. So the grommets will, if you don't lubricate the line and also the grommet on the inside, this line will pull against these over time and also rub into the rubber, so they could either pop into the rack or they could start deteriorating over time, being rubbed into there. So what I did was I put a little of this petroleum gel. This was something I had for keg systems that have a lot of those grommet pieces on them, and that works really well to keep those lubricated. And then what I did for the rollers and the cable was I've just put some 3-in-1 oil on it. So you're not really gonna be touching it too much, so it's not gonna get all over your hands, and it's just gonna keep the thing running smoothly for years to come. Okay, so first off, let me get personal for a minute, because I know people that are subscribers to the channel are going to ask this. Aaron, didn't you already have the wall-mounted Titan Fitness pulley system? Why did you go ahead and get this one instead? And I'll tell you why. I got it because the Titan Fitness one, when I got the new rack, was in the way of me getting around the side to put plates on. And so that was annoying, and I thought, well, this one's a great option because it doesn't take up any floor space, and I have a small space here. It goes on top of the rack, so it takes up air space that I'm not even using above the rack anyways. And that's the reason I got this. Now, I may have made a bit of a mistake and a little bit of a hasty decision, but I'll go through that throughout the video. I'll tell you why later. So let's get to the rest of this. Okay, so for testing purposes, I'm using the Back Widow because I know a lot of people are going to say, what the heck is that thing you're using there? I have a review on the channel. I'll put the link somewhere here, or you can just browse through the videos if you want to see a review on this. But for testing purposes, we're going to use this. My favorite thing about this pulley system is there's absolutely no noise on the rollers. You don't hear that grinding that you see when you get cheaper rollers. You know, I will say that the Titan Fitness one has, you know, over time they start to make noise and start to break a little bit. But this one, the only noise you're hearing is actually these bumpers hitting the rack, because they're so big, and if you have iron plates, they're also going to be about this big. The diameter is, they're going to scrape against this rack a tiny bit, no matter if you have this pulley down here at the bottom. It's not that big of a deal, especially because I have bumper plates, but one thing to consider if you are going to get this and you have iron plates, your rack may get touched a little bit depending on how aggressive you're pulling down on this thing. But the rollers are sweet. You can throw a ton of weight on this thing and you will never hear any sort of grinding of rollers. Okay, so let's say, for example, that you are doing some heavy pull downs with this. This thing's made for pull downs, right? That's what you see. That's what they're advertising on the Rogue website. It's made for pull downs. So, number one, this is a DIY rack mounted anchor for your legs that I made, and I'll have a video coming soon on how to do that you can actually mount it to your rack and it pops right off, no problem. So, anyways, this is super smooth. Now, my only issue is that with bumper plates, they're big and fat. So I can't load it up too heavy because I'm gonna lose the space at the top here and it won't be able to go any heavier with that. It's kind of a bummer, but that's my own fault because I have bumper plates, nothing to do with the product. You should, if you had regular plates, you'd be able to throw a ton of them on here. One thing you guys might be wondering, for all the trolley owners out there, are the trolley lever arms going to be in the way? Are these things going to hit the bottom of this? I'll show you how close they come to it, but the answer is no, unless you're out really far with the cable, say doing some behind the back you know, cable extensions, then they will. But for pull downs, this is how close it comes. Close, but no cigar. Also, if you have the spotter arms, as you can see here, they do not touch. They do not get in the way. I don't have to move them out of the way when I attach this thing. And honestly, I thought I was gonna have to put this thing away every time, but I never really do. It doesn't get in the way of my squats. It doesn't get in the way of my bench press. It doesn't get in the way of my bent over rows. I just leave it up all the time, which is great. I thought I'd have to put it away, which is not that big of a deal. It's not that hard to put this thing away. To create some space on the wall, I just hang this stuff up, but I never do. I just leave it here. Also, at the lowest point with the standard safeties that come with the rack, it also doesn't get in the way. It just goes around the side of it and it still does its job completely. The band doesn't get thrown off at all. Okay, so a few things I thought I would mention to consider when you're buying this. This is primarily a pull down or a pull out. The roller does not articulate, so it does not go off to the sides over here. So if you're thinking of doing like some sort of, you know, chest fly where you're pulling down, as you can see, it gets over the lip on there and it doesn't work very well, you know. Now, certainly not a deal breaker. I mean, when I'm doing cable crossovers, I just use bands and then pins and then the handles, and then I can put them anywhere I want along the rack, do my movement, pop to the other side, or if you have two bands, you could use on both sides, you can come and do crossovers. And that's where me getting rid of the Titan Fitness pulley system was kind of a blunder, because I could do more with it. I could roll the handles to the bottom of the rack, middle, it popped a pin in, and then it also moved off to the side, so it moved with my body, and the cable never got off of the roller portion of it. So that's where I kind of kicking myself for getting rid of it, but it's cool. We can make do, especially if we have another cable, and I'll show you exactly what I mean on this guy. All right, so right here is the Spud Inc. Pulley system that you can actually get on Rogue's website as well. You don't necessarily need the Spud Inc. pulley system. You go to your hardware store, you can make one of these. You just go there, make the cable, get the crimps, get whatever length you want, and then you can get the roller here, thread your cable through there, and then make sure there's just a hook at the top here. And what I do is I'll flip this guy up on here, and then I will take this pin. It came with a landmine, and then this guy right here, this goes over the top. Then you can take this and you can attach it to the rack by going through here, going through the lowest point you can go to, put this guy on the back, tighten it up, attach whatever attachment you want to attach to it, and now you can do your ground up movements. Anything from your bent over row, your curls, your double arm curl, your single arm curl. You know, you can even do a seated row. And I'll go ahead and show a little montage of exercises that I actually use this thing for and that work well. And then at the end, I'll give you the pricing and then my personal opinion on it. So see you in a minute. One other thing that I didn't really like about it was the fact that I don't like anything metal on metal. It just over time is going to really wear and scratch up. So I was like, well, how can I protect this thing a little bit? As you can see, there's the metal here, and then the metal's on here. So what I did was I took these magnets that I think I got with a workbench, and then I just put a little bit of felt on the top of them. And so now I can pop them on there, and then I don't have any metal on metal, which is going to cut down on part of the noise. But it's also going to keep this thing from scratching over time. Okay, so pricing. The whole thing with the plate-loaded version is going to run you $450, I believe. I think I got it $425 at a discount, shipped to Oregon. It's pretty expensive when you consider how much you could get a wall-mounted one. In fact, the Titan one that I got a few years back, $150, so I could have, I could have a couple of them with some bucks left over. And I can do more functionally with them, meaning I can slide anywhere I want up down the rack. They move, but the rollers are a lot sturdier with this one. All right, opinion time. Is this Slinger made for you? Well, if you're the type of person that's looking to buy a pulley system that is wanting to do everything a pulley system does, and you love pulley systems, and you love doing curls on them, you love doing push-ups, this is not the one for you. This is a system, in my opinion, that if you own a rack, probably a Rogue rack, and you saw it, and you go, damn, that would look cool on my rack. And it really would be cool if somebody come over to my garage gym and said, oh, but do you have a pulley system? And you're like, yeah, there it is right there, bro. But if you're, I'm not one to say where you are in your fitness journey. If you're doing pull-ups already, probably shouldn't have a pull-down system. If you're doing, unless you're doing like drop sets or something like that, I don't want to speak out of turn. But if you're somebody who loves a pulley system, this is not the one for you. You're better off, cheaper, getting a standalone one that you can mount in the corner, which I'm probably going to do. I'm probably going to sell this one and maybe get another one of those Titan ones, or I'll see what else I can find. But if you're somebody who loves pulley systems, this is not the one for you. If you want to do heavy pull downs and tricep extensions, and you got an extra $450 in your pocket and a rack, then this one's for you. Anyways, guys, I really appreciate you watching the videos. I love making them. I love doing the editing, the filming, the research, the testing. I love that, all that kind of stuff. So I appreciate you guys watching it. So if you like the video, please hit the like button, subscribe. I'm going to have another video coming soon on a rack mountable anchor. So if you do have something like this, then you can throw it in there. Until next time, peace.